Hello everyone, welcome back to Railway Cottage. This is Karen. I have made some changes in my little studio down here. I've been having some problems when I've been recording with light and with orientation, and I was just kind of muddling along on my phone. So today I went and bought a little camera and a little tripod, and I've mounted everything up and I have changed the lighting, so I'm hoping that it's a much more pleasant experience for you. I have also got my husband to sand my table right back to the bare nothing underneath so that it doesn't glare. So I'm hoping it's all going to be a lot better. This camera has a much higher resolution, so I'm really hoping that my videos are going to be a lot more enjoyable. So I've been busy just pulling pieces together for Home is Where the Heart Is. I've just gone and dropped off my quilts for the Bundaberg Quilt Show, which was exciting, and then I've come back and spread Home is Where the Heart, has spread Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 8, wrong quilt, out here on this bench that my husband's just sanded, and I'm pulling a few things together. I've just started with this little doily. I've got a beautiful old rabbit transfer. Hold on, I'll just get my book. My new setup has a microphone where I am, so I won't be able to chat as I wander off, I don't think. But I used the iron-on transfer for this gorgeous rabbit. Let me just zoom you in. Oh, I have a button that does that now. Are you ready? Zoom you in. Oop. Where am I here? Other way. Zoom in. So I had a transfer for this. So I've just pulled that out and created a little template to make this little rabbit. To add to my brown and blue Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. I'm just going to go and grab some more brown. So I've just cut him out of some beautiful brown gingham, and I am stitching him on to this lovely old marked and very well loved doily. I'm using a very thick brown, which has made it quite difficult, but I want it to look chunky. I quite like the idea of the dainty little doily with a big chunky stitch on top of it. So I'm just finishing that off, and then I'm going to start stitching down my pieces on the background here. I've gathered up a few more bits and pieces, and I'm going to stitch them all down so that I can be ready for whatever comes our way for the next prompt. This is the brown that I'm also going to use to write some script on this quilt. So it's going to be all over the quilt. I've got this much and I got it from Vinnie, so I hope I don't run out. So I'm trying to squeeze this massive piece of thread, let me show you where I am, into this teeny tiny needle. There it is. Did I get it? Not quite. Yes, maybe. Yes, I did. So hopefully this is a long enough piece I just cannot fit this into a finer needle. So I'm going to are you ready? Pull you down and around. Oops, down like this way. And a bit further out so that you can see what I'm doing. Just tying a knot. And I've got my husband to change the overhead light as well, so I think that's made it a little more, a little easier on the eyes. So let's hope so anyway. So this little guy is gorgeous, look at him. So I'm just going around and filling in the gaps in my stitching. I could have back stitched, but I quite like to just go around twice. That's just how I like to do it. So I've just stitched him directly onto this doily. No, nothing clever, but I'm just creating a few little bits and bobs to put onto this piece. So they've kind of left it wide open with the doily, favourite doily and something thrifted. I think that basically sums up everything in my in my sewing room, just about. I have also pulled some boxes of fabrics out, like some beautiful browns and blues. So I try to stick to my colourway with this one. Here we go. And this needle's thick, and the actual doily is very tightly woven. So anyway, it's giving me a good workout as I go around with my hands. So I'm just considering how I'm going to sew everything on. I think I would like to do a mixture of feature stitching and some, you know, just quiet stitching. I won't say invisible stitching because I don't think I ever do invisible stitching, but I think I'll just do a mixture of deliberately out there and some quiet stitching. And then, as I said, my theme's blue and brown. I am incorporating lots and lots of elements that are blue and brown, like obviously blue willow and some Delft sort of Dutch pieces, because they are the pieces that tend to be old and blue and white. And so this is my little rabbit. He's looking gorgeous. I just fill in his nose a bit more. So I didn't get online last night. I might pop on tonight and have a look at some videos and see what else everyone's doing. There's been some great starts and really varied how people are approaching this one. But I'm very excited to have the first 6 panels of Homer's Where the Heart Is stitched together. So that's given me impetus to get the last little bit finished. And then I'll have room for another project. So I'll be able to do this one and another project which I have in mind. But let's get this one underway first, hey. Okay, just to there. So I'm just literally stitching around the edge, raw edged, big stitches. It's a really tightly woven gingham and an extremely tightly woven doily, so it's not going anywhere. It's just hard to even get the needle up close. There we go. So the new light is nice for filming, I hope, but I'm getting used to it for actual, it's very different to the light I had before. So I do have a few lamps on around the room as well to give me a bit more light. But we did what the experts said to try and improve things. I don't want you to be frustrated. Nothing worse, hey? So hopefully this has improved things. And as I learn to use my new cool little camera, I'll get even better at creating some content for you. Okay. It's been a long time since I bought a camera. It was a bit of an experience, lots of tech speak, but I'm very lucky. My brother, who lives in Sydney, is extremely tech. That's what he does for a living, so he's very, very tech savvy. So, you know, I sent him my specs and he sent me a photo basically and said, go get this. So that was good. I don't know about you, but my brain has got lots in it and it does not have room for talking tech. It just kind of doesn't recognise the language. Oops, I missed that completely then. So I'm hoping my new microphone's working. I'm hoping that you are able to see everything and it's not glary. And the very cool thing is that this is just set up all the time now, so I don't have to muck around with my phone, and like I did with the latest video, and I'm really sorry, I changed the orientation because that's how we could see better. And then of course if you're viewing it on something that's not a phone, then you get all those big black lines. What a nightmare, sorry about that. But I'm learning as I go, so hopefully I can, you know, hopefully that's fixed now. Thanks for hanging in there. Thank you for all my lovely new subscribers. I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm so excited to see so many people interested in my work and interested in slow stitching and coming over and joining in. So we go through there. It's funny how these little things always take so long, hey? It's Saturday up here in Bundaberg, in Queensland. It's the middle of winter and we actually have had some wintry days, which we get the odd ones here. I mean, yesterday I think was like 6 to 14, which was like, you know, the end of the world for us. We actually, this is Queensland, okay? We actually had inside play because that was too cold. So, you know, that's how soft we all are up here. But our little people were just not dressed for it, unfortunately. So we hung out inside with the heaters yesterday. So I think we have a couple more days and then it's back to ridiculous winter temperatures of like, you know, 14 to 25 or something. So I'm just stitching over the edge of the doily here. I'm just ignoring the fact that it's run out because this is where I want it to go. So I'm just stitching down through and adjusting it slightly if it's going, you know, hitting some sort of tatting. Is that tatting? I'm not sure that it's refusing to go through. That's okay, I like the look of that. I like how he looks like he's just leaping across the doily. And he's obviously not a Queensland rabbit because we are not allowed to have rabbits in Queensland. If you didn't know that, it's illegal to own a rabbit as a pet. So we can only dream about fluffy bunnies. Our kids never had that experience. We had to settle for smaller rodents like guinea pigs, and not quite the same. Okay, this is going to come through. Oh, got it. That was a bit rough. Okay, there. Just need to move it a little bit. Yeah, so I'm not trying to get through one of those very thick bits. Okay, let me have a look. Yep. And down to here. Just need to go in a little bit because it's starting to fray. So this gives it a nice bold outline, and then on the dainty I like that. I like the contrast. I don't know where he's going yet, I just wanted to make him. And then I'm going to start stitching down. And let me just move you again this way and that way. That's better. Now it's right in front of me. So where am I up to here? All right, out at the edge. I'm going to miss that one and go to here. Saturday night is wild in my house. I imagine I'll be down here. My husband will be watching the rugby with a lot less enthusiasm than he watched last week when Australia lost to Irish and British Lions, but he will be watching it nonetheless. That is a guarantee. Now where am I? Over to here. That's just going through a really thick bit. It's all good, I found it. Come on, you. So when this is all done, I'll give it a bit of iron just to flatten out these bits that look a bit crinkled now, and you'll be able to see that it will work. I have a plant stand. Now let me just see if I can. Are you ready? See if I can bring you in a bit. Am I already there? Oh, look at that. Bit of a jump. So where am I in the middle there? So as I said, new equipment to get used to, so please forgive me for what I am sure will be a lot of rookie errors as well. But hopefully just the quality is better. Hopefully the sound's okay. And you shouldn't have any more of that blinding white because the this camera won't do that apparently, and you shouldn't have any more of the dreaded black bars because of the phone orientation. I don't think I can fit as much on screen, but I will learn to work on that. Gee whiz, come on. Not far off, I just need to do this and then his eye and he'll be done. And I can have a think about how I'm going to be stitching these guys on, and I'll show you some of the other pieces that I've pulled out to add to this something thrifted and favourite doilies are the two. Are the two prompts so far. Okay, he's looking good. Can you see him clearly? Nearly done. Just go up into here. I want it to be right there. I find sometimes you got to be careful with rabbits' eyes. You can make them look really evil. So let me just see how I go with this guy. Let me get his little friend in here. How did I do his eye? Oh yeah, just like a little circle with the knobby bit. I don't want an evil rabbit, that's for sure. So for this bit I might just go through the top layer, because making a tight circle in this weave is very difficult. You can see how tightly woven this is. So I'm just going to do some little stitches and create a little circle and have a look first and just see whether that's going to be enough or whether we need to add a bit more detail. So a lot of my day today was spent out creating shopping and getting, you know, new bits and pieces for my studio, but that's good. It needed to be done. My husband has just sanded my walls and done the stuff, whatever it's called, that fills enamel gaps. So they are ready to paint, and he's going to paint them tomorrow. So that will be so wonderful once this room is finally finished and I can get back in and not have to move all my stuff again. So I'm very excited about that. I knew I'd have to thread this needle once more. Let's try it again. Where am I here? Okay. More. There we go. I think I got it. Yes, I did. Literally 1 or 2 more stitches. So don't fail me now, needle. There we go. Just 1 to there. And that is me done. I'm going to just leave that as a little circle. How gorgeous is he? So there's my cup. There he is. I'll get rid of my little book. So let me just show you what else I have brought in to add. I have brought in this fabulous piece, which I did consider, let me zoom out a bit, I did consider this for the backing, but in the end I chose something else because it's just so fabulous. I didn't want to cover so much of that. But I have this absolutely stunning piece of French toile. Is it French? What does it say? Where is it from? Home Collections, Madison Avenue. But it's fabulous, and so I'm going to definitely use some of that somewhere. Then I have, hang on, I'm just going to lean over here. I got these little guys, and I can't remember why I cut them into these little charm square sizes, but I did. So I might even just make a little block with them, and then just place that on, you know, put that on the quilt as another bit. So I might just hand stitch those, put them next to me on the sofa and hand stitch those, just deciding whether I want a block that way or a block the other way. Second thing, I made another one of, I made a little cluster of doilies, hexagons that I made out of old doily pieces. So I've made another little cluster of those, and these ones I'm going to feature this side up. They do have a little bit of other colours in them, but that's okay. I'm going to allow that because they look fabulous. And it's just a teeny tiny bit. So I have these to make into something. My little rabbit is good to go. He's gorgeous. So I'm just going to pop these to one side. I've got that beautiful toile. I have a few other bits. These are the straps off a little apron that I got from Vinnie's for 50 cents. So I'm going to put these on as bows somewhere because they make the best bows. And look, it's got a little bit of crocheted edging. So I might just cut it so that my bow has both of those, both of the edges, if you can see what I mean. There's both the ends. So for example, let's just knot that together. Let's just do a double knot so I've got something to pull against. There we go. So let's just say that's the tails of my bow, like this. I've found quite a lot of these beautiful little aprons, and they're always done with the most beautiful little, you know, 100% cotton, and quite often they have 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 little featured bits of embroidery. Quite often they're crinoline ladies, and then they'll have a pocket with embroidery, and you can usually pick them up for like 50 cents. Most of the time they're not even used. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of those ones. As you can see, something like, imagine those ones gone, something like that with these as my, so I'm going to put him on here. I've got this, hang on, let me show you. I've got 2 things here that I really want to use. This, I think this is too big. This is beautiful, look at that. Mum gave me that. It's absolutely glorious, but I think it's just too big. And it's probably one of the few things that I don't want to cut, so that might just have to be in for the next time pile. And then I have this beautiful thing that my friend Lorraine made for me. Have a look at this that she made. It's absolutely gorgeous. She stitched all of these buttons all the way around this, and I just saw her today and we were talking about this beautiful trim that I had and Mum had and how we'd run out, and it's basically this with these beautiful, very similar to this, with these beautiful buttons hanging off the ends. So she's made this, and then she's made me a flower to go in the middle. So I'd really love to put this on here somewhere as well. It just makes such a beautiful sound. So thank you, Lorraine. That will find a home on here somewhere. And then this little guy, he's just a little random, I don't know, doily. So he's very folksy and very cute, and he seems to fit right in. So I'm quite happy to cut him up. You know, he's, whatever he is, made in Austria. He looks very Austrian. So I'm going to just move some of these things off, my extra bits, and then I'm going to start stitching. So I may drop out the audio while I just move away and find some thread. All right. Here is my bucket of thread. I'm going to choose creams. I don't want whites, so that's a good one, even though it's got a bit of a shine. That's a great one. It's a bit of a gold, but that's, I'm going to call it brown. I want a finer one, so that's a good one. A smaller width. I don't want them. Got one like that, and then I have this light. This is a very nice variegated light brown. So that's what I'm going to be working with. And then I'm going to pick out my only, I'm not going to be using any DMC just yet because they drive me nuts. I will take out those 2 blues, and then I'm going to go and find a bowl to put them in. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're my threads that I'm going to be using. Let's put my needle jar in here. It's safe to take the red thread out at this point. I won't be using him. And I said I opened a whole new packet of needles, so these are all lovely sharp needles ready to go. I don't need those extra pins. I'm going to put my little scissors and my snips in there. That's a brown heavier thread. Let me see where to start. I'm going to start, let me see, I'm going to start, what can you see? You can see all the way to here, to there. Okay, you can see this is basically the edge, the top edge of the quilt. So I'm going to start here, start at the top. Seems like a sensible thing to do. and work my way down. There's actually a thread already done with the cream, so I'll start with that. Actually, I just need to grab a thimble. I do need a thimble. Okay, let's start. So I'm going to just literally stitch around the edge of this. It's not going to be featured stitching, but it's not going to be invisible either. I'll just stitch in the holes that are already here, that are used. That's kind of the punch holes around the outside. I'm trying not to be too regular. It's a bit hard when it's holes like that. Let me just pull myself a little bit this way. There we go. So just learning to use my new camera. How's that look? There we go. And look, no reflection. How awesome. We got there eventually, hey. So this little guy's just going to be background. So I'll stitch him on all the way around, just flat. I probably will do some stitches, just a couple in the middle, just so he doesn't sag. I don't like sag. And then this is what I plan to do for the rest of my Saturday night. I don't know about you, but that is my perfect Saturday night. If someone could just bring me some food along the way, that would be awesome. But, perfect. Okay. So I'm thinking that I'll stitch on all my doilies, all my thrifted things, and they'll kind of be in an even spread over the whole background. And then whatever else comes next will work. That's my plan anyway. So, you know, the next prompt could be elephants, so that would be fun. Just stitching through a thick bit there. And again, I'm using a new microphone, so I hope you can hear me. Let me just check that he's nice and flat. It's nice not to have a microphone on my lapel that I bump all the time and forget about when I take clothes off and leave it on the chair, as I'm sure you've noticed. How wonderful. Okay. Now I can't remember whether girls are going to do a prompt every week. Is it every week? I hope so. In which case, if I can get all of this sewn down, I will be ready for tomorrow's prompt, if there is one. I'm just going to pull that a bit tighter. I should have ironed that out, shouldn't I? Oh well, it will all sort out. Yes, so I will, I'm hoping that there's another prompt tomorrow. Just trying to make sure I'm in screen. Oh yeah, there we go. So at the moment my quilt's spread out flat, but that's already annoying me. So I'm going to, when I finish this, I'm going to tuck and roll so that I can get closer and spin things in the direction that I like to sew in, because this is too awkward trying to spin. In fact, I'm going to do that now. So bear with me while I move a few things. What's that? Move that off. Let's see if I can make that work. Now I've put all my pins this way, so that is vertical on this quilt. So let me just roll. Let me pin this here so I remember where it is. Let me just roll ourselves in. And then that way I'll find the pins that I have put the wrong way very quickly. Okay, that's fine. I'll roll in from this edge. Oops, there's one. again on this doily. Hang on, I'm just popping them the right way so I can access what I want to access to. So, because that's really the biggest barrier to making a big quilt, is being able to get at it. You know, it's very cumbersome, it gets old pretty fast. So if you can do this, you can pretty much manage any size. And if you watch the dodgy video that I put up yesterday, you can see how I've done that with Home is Where the Heart Is to put the 6 blocks together. All right, try it again, Sam. Let's just roll you. That's it, roll, roll, roll up to that little doily. And I'm just going to go around the other side of the table and do the same thing. Let me have a look. There's nothing poking out. Oh, there's one. There's always one going the wrong way. Okay, so roll, roll, and it's very thin, this, because it's only one layer, so it rolls really well. Okay. Last one. There we go. So much better. Right, so let me bring you back into shot. So now not only can I roll, but I can fold. And so my whole quilt is now this size. Look, let's zoom out to 100%. That's the whole quilt. So all I'm working on is this bit. So that is so much better because I can spin it as I go to suit how I like to sew. So again, it's all about manageability of a bigger piece. Okay. Okay. Making sure he's still flat. So this is a new way to do a quilt for me, a slow stitch quilt for me, so it's good. I'm enjoying doing it a different way. Like I said, I've done 3 big quilts the other way, 3 big projects, year-long projects pretty much. So it's good. This is also much smaller. I've done the panels at 16 inches. So, so that's a challenge to get what I want into that space. But we have yet to renovate our bedroom upstairs. I mean, it's fine, it's just cream and it's fine, but the only room that we've really done how we want it, when I say we, like, I mean me, how I want it, is the bathroom. And the bathroom is absolutely beautiful. I've done it with green and blue tile wallpaper and it's fabulous. So when I think of my bedroom and how I would like it to be renovated, I think of blue and brown. So hopefully this might be the start of kickstarting me into doing something about my bedroom. I would love some brown tile wallpaper in my bedroom, or a really pale but dark, this sort of blue tile would be fabulous as well. We do have very high ceilings, so it ends up costing a lot of money in wallpaper. I think our ceilings are 14 foot high. But I only have 2 walls that would need wallpapering. The others are tongue and groove, so we can just paint those. So this piece is also making me think about my decor for my bedroom, which is hopefully will kickstart me into doing something about it. A little bit short on the thread. That's okay because it was one that was already done. It feels so weird just sewing through so few layers. Actually, and another one. Okay. So I did a very quick test of my new setup, so I'm hoping that it's recording. Wouldn't be the first time, would it? No, sorry ladies and gents. You've done well to bear with me with all of my very big rookie errors, but we're learning together. It's actually all about the sewing, so hopefully that's kept you here. Okay, where am I? Back to here. I think I sewed to there. Getting lots and lots of content out of the big quilt show that's on in the UK at the moment. There's actually a pin under there. Let's just get that out before I stitch it shut. That's a bit silly. Lucky I checked. Yes, lots and lots of content. It's also on my list of things that I want to do is to go to that quilt show. I'd love to do the French General Retreat. Wouldn't we all? Yes. Maybe one day, hey. Let's see. So this little guy's nearly on. I am going to just pop a couple of stitches in his middle because I don't like how he's gappy. Don't like gappy. Just a couple of teeny tiny ones. Just to keep him flat and engaged with the back fabric. Make sure I don't pull that tight as I am wont to do. Okay, just going to see, again I'm just learning, so please bear with me. I think that straightened me up a little bit and you don't have to look at my legs. So when it's like this, so you can spin it all the way around and it really makes it so much easier to sew. We all have a preferred way to sew. I mean, you can make anything happen, but there's one way that's always so much more comfortable for everybody than another. Tiny, teeny, tiny stitch. And one up here. So that is all I'm going to add to you, my friend. This little doily anyway. I can take that out. Let's have a look what else I can do with my cream thread that is on here. Here comes the train. Sorry, just grabbing a drink. Okay, let's see what else I can do with cream when I throw my quilt open to the elements. That bit's done. Let's open it up. I'm going to go down to the bottom now and stitch on my brown doily. That is really nice. I love this doily. Look how weird it is. It's obviously like some sort of Polish or, you know, it's very, very, very folksy. And I love it. I have a blue one as well that's on this quilt up the top. So I'm going to just start with this again. And again, I might just do a few stitches in the middle first, just so that it's a bit bigger, just so I don't end up, I don't want puffy puckers and stuff, I don't like that. So just might kind of make my way out with some teeny tiny stitches. If I had the skill of Rachel or Sarah, I could do invisible stitches, but I just own it and go, there's my stitch. And again, I'm going to pop out to about, might go in the guy's eye, what do you reckon? That's a good spot as any. And that's going to be evenly spread. Let's just do a little thing in his eye. Move to this one. And yes, that'll be stretched across the back, but it's going to be backed. It's going to be fine. It will be fine. And that's already just anchored that. I quite like that little bit of texture in his, I think it's an eye. Do you think it's a bird? A dog? I don't know. I only just realised that it was some sort of animal. I don't know. I love it. I have a red one as well. So this is why you've got to go to thrift shops, people. Op shops. Sorry, Mum. Okay, so I'm going to do the same with my little random animal in the outside row of these. because it's stable now, I'm going to go from him out and start around the edge rather than just lose the rest of my thread doing that. Look, I'm being very brave. I'm stitching down. Oh, do I want to stitch down the edges? I might actually just pull that back in a bit and stitch inside this black line, just because that gives me a few options with layering and tucking and what have you. So that works really well. If you've got a little bit of room to lift up, you can lift up and tuck if you decided a bit later on that you want something tucked underneath. All right, let's go. I'm nearly out of thread. I'm actually just going to tie that off straight away before I lose it, and then get a much longer piece. So just tying a knot because it came off. There we go. Did that come through? Yes. And again, most of these creamy coloured crochet cotton threads are all from Vinnie's. And as I said, you can nearly always find them at Vinnie's. Quite often you can get a little bag or a little bundle for a couple of dollars. I always wonder what happened to the project that was started with them. So I'm up to, let me just see where I have. I might just pop another couple of pins in to just hold it where I want it. Just look how easy it is to put a pin in when you only have 2 layers. So I'm up to there. So I'm going to do each second little crazy animal eyeball as well, just to keep it flat. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go up and do a little stay stitch in his eye here. Is it a chicken? I don't know. It could even be a dog. I don't even know. Maybe let's call it a chicken. I'm going to just grab my little board to pop under. Just so when my needle digs, I'm not destroying the sharpness of my needle every single time. Did I do that one? Yes, I might do them all anyway. That's better. And again, it's not to protect my table. The table is designed to be used and whatever, but it destroys your needles to be digging into timber all the time. And these are lovely and sharp. It makes me realise I need to change my needles more frequently, particularly when we're so rough on them as slow stitches. Up into his eyeball, it's the second one, and down. Take out where I've been so I can track when we're doing these very hard to see stitches. Okay. So I'll be very happy tonight if I can have all of this sewn down. If I can finish the little nest in my ABC book. I've started embroidering that, and got fed up with it because it was really slow. So it's half done. Half a nest is enough in one day, particularly when you're doing it slowly. Like my embroidery is very slow. Safely pull him out. Just bring that back over here. So I'm hoping that the whites aren't blinding anymore like they were before. That was something to do, look, my brother explained it to me, but you know, I didn't retain any of that information. So there was a reason, but we should have now fixed it. So I hope it is better. Where am I up to? All the way around there. Don't know if I did that guy or not. So the Best in Show was interesting from the NIC, whatever the big quilt show is in England at the moment. I did see that there was a recycled lab coat quilt, so I wonder if that was the you know, recycled section, because that's where, as slow stitches, that's kind of the only place we can go in a quilt show, is recycled. But sometimes recycled is more about the actual recycling than about the upcycling and the art use, if you know what I mean. So you know, it varies. It varies. So I'll be excited for the day when there is just a slow stitch category. Surely we're not that far away. Okay, I seem to have a bubble. Oh, that'll be good. So yes, these guys have got a few marks in them. I don't worry about that. I know some people don't like to use them with marks, but I really like the marks. They're clean, they're washed, they're ironed, they're just loved, pre-loved. Completely missing the fabric underneath. There I was. Am I close? Yes, just that far. Alrighty, let's tie that little sucker off here. Oh, I knew it'd fall out. That's because I took a shortcut, didn't I? I feel like you're watching videos of me just threading needles all day. Oops, I actually had it then too. Hold on. There we go. Okay, let's just do a double stitch and tie him off. Okay. Alrighty, let's unroll a little bit. So that one is finished. Well, not finished, but down. I'm kind of looking for the fabric based ones first, just because they're the ones I know that I definitely will have in the back, if you know what I mean. Okay, I'm going to head over to this guy now. So just going to roll this way, oops, pin and roll, there we go. And then I should be able to, here's the blue one, just fold. Watch out for the sticky up pins. This is basically right in the middle of the quilt. So I'm going to just unroll you to the edge actually. There we go. So this is my favourite doily. Do I have it the right side? Yes, I do. And again, I'm just going to go around the edge of this and just secure it basically. I'm just going to put some pins in, again, so I don't get any saggy bits. There we go. How am I going to tack this? Same thread, just a background quiet thread to stitch this down. And I might well come along later and put some decorative stitching that you can see, but for now I just want to attach them. And imagine that they're part of the background. That's the plan. Again, which is different for me. So it's good. So how far are we? We are 50 minutes in. I might leave you there. I might keep stitching and I might come back once they're all down and we can talk about the next layer. So thanks so much. I hope that the new camera setup has helped. I can actually see what's on screen and what's not now, which is really helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing, and I'll see you again soon.